dear viewers, and welcome to a new edition of our program Africa Today. In today's edition, we are going to talk about the collaboration between Egypt and the United Nations in order to facilitate the entry of humanitarian aid to the Gaza Strip. And we'll start with this report where Egypt has collaborated with the UN to facilitate the entry of 2,272 trucks into the Gaza Strip through the Karam Abu Salim crossing in recent weeks. This move comes as Israel's occupation forces and the Palestine is occupying the Palestinian side of the border crossing, which has the distribution of humanitarian aid and the entry of aid to the Palestinian enclave. Egypt has underscored its rejection of Israeli presence at the Rafah border crossing, emphasizing the Palestinian Authority over the crossing. More details in the following report.
A high-level source told the news channel Al Qahira News that Egypt has coordinated with the United Nations to facilitate the entry of 2,272 trucks into the Gaza Strip over the past 3 weeks through the Karam Abu Salim crossing. The source added that coordination with the UN is a temporary measure until the resumption of the operation of the Rafah crossing, whose Palestinian side has been occupied by Israel since early May. The source reaffirmed Egypt's rejection of any operation of the Rafah crossing in the presence of the Israeli occupation forces. Israel's takeover of the Palestinian side of the Rafah crossing has halted the flow of humanitarian aid into the Strip, which has been facing dire conditions due to the ongoing Israeli war there. The United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs warned that the humanitarian situation is deteriorating in Gaza, especially in southern Gaza. The WFP Deputy Executive Director Karl Skau said following a 2-day visit to Gaza that active conflict and lawlessness in the area have made it near impossible for the World Food Programme and its partners to meet the surging demand. Egypt has rejected an Israeli proposal for the two countries to coordinate to control the Rafah crossing, insisting that Palestinian authorities manage the crossing. Egypt has been demanding an immediate withdrawal of the Israeli occupation forces from the city of Rafah and the Rafah crossing.
And to shed more light on the issue, we are very much delighted to be joined over the phone by Dr. Milad Momtaz, the international relations expert. Good afternoon to you, Doctor.
Good afternoon.
Sir, how has Egypt actually coordinated with the United Nations in order to facilitate the entry of aid into the Gaza Strip, and what challenges have been encountered, sir?
Actually, Egypt has been closely coordinating with the United Nations to facilitate the entry of humanitarian aid into Gaza. I think it's, if we recall, a long time ago, we actually started cooperating with the United Nations concerning this. That I still recall Mr. Guterres himself at the crossing, and I think that was the first phase of the conflict, was calling upon everyone to cooperate with this kind of thing. So I'm talking about phase 1. But lately, concerning the southern area of Gaza, I think we've been trying so hard actually to get entry, humanitarian aid into this part of Gaza. We've been trying, and we've been accused by the occupying forces of not cooperating enough with this, because actually they have been focusing on Rafah border crossing. Actually, what we've been working on for now is the other border crossing. We've been working on Karam Salim crossing. And the last 3 weeks, only the last 3 weeks, can you imagine more than 2,272 trucks crossed into actually southern area of Gaza? More than 2,200. That's a very large number of trucks. I know for sure that they need actually, more and more actually humanitarian aid entering into actually Gaza. However, we've been trying to do this, taking into consideration something I find it very crucial to us. It's our national security. Our national security is very crucial, and we can't give up on our national security by all means. If you don't mind the second part of your question, because you were talking about the challenges that we have been encountered. I'd like to highlight something that has been evidently clear since day one, the stubbornness and that kind of a spirit on the other side. I'm talking namely about Tel Aviv concerning this. This has been actually, they don't want to actually cooperate on this by all means. They want to give actually our brethren in Gaza, very hard time concerning this. Despite the fact that international law actually, talks about this very straightforwardly. They have to cooperate because we're about civilians, and civilians need to be provided with everything. So I think that's the most important challenge. This kind of a spirit, this kind of situation on their side, not wanting to cooperate with us. And another crucial challenge, if you don't mind, not only not wanting to cooperate with the Egyptian authorities, it's not actually wanting to, to listen to any kind of voice, internationally speaking, not only on our side, the Egyptian side, not wanting to listen to anyone in the world that civilians should be away from this, civilians should be protected. So these are the two key challenges. Yes. And the two key challenges, these two things are not on our side, because we've been accused of not being actually cooperating the last couple of months. And actually that's not true, that's a huge lie. That's one of the biggest lies ever. Egyptians have been always actually on the Palestinian side, wanting to protect them, wanting to cooperate with international organizations. And another crucial point, if you don't mind as well, when was the last time Egypt said no to international organization concerning helping out our brethren in Gaza? We've never done that. Never, ever. I've never done it. And actually, I need anyone to go online and check it out. Have we ever done that as Egyptians? We've never done that. We've never done it by all means.
Yes. Sir, what are actually the current humanitarian conditions in the southern of the Gaza Strip?
It's catastrophic, actually. And even I think, language itself is not enough to describe how horrible the situation is. Because we're talking about tens of thousands, even, not only tens of thousands, I believe, hundreds of thousands of people squeezed into a very small area. That's not actually, it's against everything, by all measures, it's against everything. So those people are out of food, those people are out of medical supplies, those people, they can access clean water. And I think, talking about, that human rights and whatsoever, these are basics, and those basics should be provided to everyone. And that's what's been the case for those people in southern Gaza. They have been displaced. I don't remember how many times they have been displaced. I think maybe more than 4 or 5, and even more than that, they have been displaced. And we're talking that, unarmed people. Because they have been always accused that, those people are taking Hamas side. And no, those people are civilians. Those people are unarmed. So actually they should be protected. So the humanitarian situation, once again, in southern Gaza is beyond words. So we need actually to protect them by all measures. And something else concerning the humanitarian situation in southern Gaza. Those people who have been suffering now for the last 9 months, they need protection as soon as possible, and the only measure they need it very desperately for now is, a true ceasefire. Yes. That's what we need. We have been seeking this, a true ceasefire. And I believe that, we've been doing this, we've been calling this for the last 9 months, and I believe that it's kind of a far-reaching dream. The entire international community has been calling on the occupying forces to do this for the last 9 months. And actually we need to bring this into play. We need actually to press more, to get this.
Yes, unfortunately, a very alarming situation. Sir, can you elaborate on the escalating severity and the scope of the Israeli attacks against the Palestinian civilians in the Gaza Strip, and what measures actually are being considered to address these Israeli attacks from the international community?
And a simple example, the kind of weaponry they've been using on civilians. And that's a crucial point. We can imagine, they use something called, I wouldn't use some, military terms or whatever, but they are using some advanced bombs, really heavy bombs. And actually, according to some experts, some actually of those bombs are really, really devastating and catastrophically used by occupying forces, destroying everything. And actually, these bombs should be used only on military targets, not civilian ones.
Yes.
And that's something, it's very crucial. Why using actually such advanced bombs on civilians?
Yes.
And some other bombs, even United the States, Washington, D.C. has been warning Tel Aviv of this. Please don't do this. And actually, some of the latest reports coming from Washington, stated that it's Israel has been using such weapons, in not a way that would go along the lines of the international law, humanitarian international law. And actually, that's very clear. So talking about weaponry, I think that's a long story about weaponry and the types of weaponry actually Israeli authorities have been using on civilians, targeting civilians. And I'm not of the point of view by all means that it's by mistake. No way. No way. I don't accept it. I can't buy this by all means. They have been targeting. They know what they're doing. They have the latest technologies in the world. So they can know actually what kind of targets they're going after. And of all of this, actually, they've been actually killing civilians. And I think that the number actually is nearing 38,000. 38,000 innocent people at the death toll for now. The measures, that's another part of your question. Measures, we have only one way in my mind. I know that some people actually they wouldn't go with this, but I strongly believe in this, which is what? Diplomacy. That's the only measure. That's the only way. Because if we seek other measures, that would be something really dangerous, not only to the region, but the entire world, in my mind. Imagine dragging the entire region and then the world later on into that kind of conflict. That would be like truly, truly dangerous. And even the word dangerous does not describe the situation as it would escalate in that direction. So international community, and we've been seeing European countries, recognizing the state of Palestine, which is something is really, really good. It's something I believe that move is very important. We've been waiting for that movement or that move on their side for decades now, and that's coming, from their side little by little. We know it. We don't mind this, even if it was little by little, maybe 3-4 countries. But when it comes from European countries, I find that that's a very good sign. Now, the European countries have been realizing, seeing this little by little, that how crucial and how dangerous and how just the Palestinian cause is.
Yes, indeed. Sir, also, what specific obligations does Egypt believe Israel as occupying power should fulfill in accordance with the international law and the 4th Geneva Convention regarding the protection of civilians during the wartime?
Actually, according to the 4th Geneva Convention, there are a number of points that actually Israeli forces should go by. First one, which I found it very crucial, and they have never done it for the last 9 months, distinction. Distinction, which is very, distinction, simply speaking, goes like what they must distinguish between military targets and civilian ones. They have never done it for the last 9 months.
Yes.
There is no distinction by all means. They target whoever actually they want. And every time they target, some civilian, they would say, you know what, we were after Hamas actually militants. We weren't target civilians. But actually maybe they killed 3-4 actually Hamas militants. Alongside they killed hundreds of civilians. By the measures, by international law and according to Geneva Convention, that's illegal. That's unlawful. You shouldn't do that. Distinction is very important. And that should be prohibited. It is prohibited according to the international law. Civilian objects shouldn't be targeted by all means.
Indeed.
Another crucial point or another obligation which I find it very important as well, it's about proportionality. Everything should be done proportionally.
Yes,
proportionally is that, they need to make sure that, the use of force is proportionate to the military advantages sought or they are seeking. But actually they've never done it. They just target, they want to actually devastate whatever, which is not allowed according to the international law. So disproportionate attacks causing excessive harm, this is not actually okay by all means.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Dr. Milad
Yes.
Momtaz, international relations expert, thank you so much, sir, for your precious input. And moving on to this report where Congolese President Denis Sassou Nguesso is visiting Moscow from the 25th of June till the 29th to strengthen bilateral relations with Russia. The visit occupying is shortly becoming a recent trip by the Russian foreign minister to Congo underscores ongoing discussions between the two nations on the economic cooperation, trade and energy. More details in the following story.
President of the Republic of Congo, Denis Sassou, arrived in Moscow on a visit on June 25th, and his trip will last until June 29th. The trip by Congolese president comes less than a month after Russia's foreign affairs minister Sergei Lavrov made a stop in the Central African country. Sassou Nguesso is expected to meet with his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin. The two leaders will hold discussions on the economy, trade, energy, as well as security cooperation. This is Sassou's second trip to Russia in less than a year. Last July, he traveled to St. Petersburg to attend the Russia-Africa Summit. Staunchest allies in Africa, Russian companies maintain a presence in the country's oil, mining and military sector. Russia has worked to bolster ties with African countries in a bid to counter Western sanctions and isolation over the war in Ukraine. Most African nations have adopted a neutral stance on the conflict, calling instead for a ceasefire and peace talks.
Senegal has reported detecting COVID-19 cases among returning Hajj pilgrims, with 78 positive results identified from tests conducted at Dakar's Blaise Diagne International Airport. More details in the following report.
Senegal said that it had detected COVID-19 in dozens of pilgrims returning from their Hajj journey in Mecca. From tests conducted at Dakar's International Airport, 78 cases of COVID-19 were recorded. Senegal's health ministry said the results are not surprising. It said returning pilgrims has been advised to wear masks and self-isolate. Authorities said that they have stepped up surveillance. Saudi officials on Sunday said that more than 1,300 people died during this year's Hajj pilgrimage. They blamed the fatalities on extremely high summer temperatures. During events such as the symbolic stoning of the pillars, many people crowded in the same place with no allowance for social distancing. There have been deadly stampedes in the past. More than 1.83 million Muslims performed Hajj in 2024, and Senegal alone sent 12,900 pilgrims.
Well, with that, our dear viewers, we come to the end of this edition of our program Africa Today. I'm Hester Abia. Many thanks for watching.